We talk football and current events, sitting and chatting with the very best guests, with two Scottish boys and we're loving it. So if you like witty banter, check the former #1 podcast on iTunes, Sitting and Chatting.
Hello and welcome back to the Sit and Chat podcast. I'm Whyte.
theejamieallan.
Jabba, you late bastard, how you doing?
Don't know if I could. Not late. Just
20 minutes
really
late, everyone. 20 minutes.
unpunctual. No, it's not.
Unpunctual?
That's not I went for it. And it
We
just,
can tell you're less skilled than fourth year.
Nah, there's a difference between leaving and getting booted up. But
You weren't officially, you were just recommended.
I was told. No, fuck all. I mean, I was late due to pressing matter.
It's a pressing matter.
Aye. So what had happened was yesterday, me, Liam, and a couple of mates went down to play a wee game of soccer or two. And what had happened is I bet George that he couldn't hit the net for the corner flag, and he did. And I owed him a bottle of Jack Daniels.
Wait, on that final shot he hit it?
Huh?
I thought it bounced just before it hit.
That was it. That was the second last shot, and then he hit it in the last shot.
Did it? It looks like it still bounced from that.
No. Definitely hit. So I went round and gave him a bottle of Jack Daniels. I was chewing. So.
Did you actually be nice and get one of the proper size ones?
Of course, aye.
Yeah.
He drinks the fucking honey one as well, my good. But
I've tried it. Ain't good.
It's good to be fair. There's 4 types of them. There's like the normal, there's the honey, and then there's an apple, and then there's like the fireball. All of which, by the way, beautiful. Beautiful.
I don't enjoy it that much, to be regular Jack Daniels I do prefer.
I never used to be fair. I was as you're fully aware, I was an average drinker of rum, and that was
Have
it.
you stopped? I haven't seen you on the crack
No,
in quite a
I'd
while.
be fucking stupid. I still drink that now.
Honestly, it's been roles reversed since we started the podcast on Friday. He's the cunt that's been drinking. It's me that's been the sober one.
No, but to be fair, we started doing this on a Friday, and then I started getting Saturdays off when I was working for him.
Yeah.
So I was always having a drink on Friday because I knew if I was after Saturday.
Yeah.
So that's the reason. But I'm back to my mallet next week. Unfortunately.
How are you feeling about going back?
I'm dead excited.
Oh yeah, because you're enjoying working from home before.
No, it's good. Like, it's ups and it's downs.
It's weird for both me and Jamie because I'm also starting my job next week. So, I've been working, but not like actual proper in person in the store. So it'll be weird. I'm nervous about it, to say the least.
It'll be fine. But going back the first time, like last time they got restrictions got lifted, was a total fucking mess. Like,
really?
Nah, but it was a total farce that everything you done had to be like social distancing. Obviously, was still in play back then. Face masks were a must as well. But what had happened is nobody took it serious. So people were coming in, taking their mask off when they were behind the screens that we have in that.
Yeah.
And just taking the piss. And it was like, that was fine because I didn't give a fuck, because I knew fine well, if this kept happening, we were going back into lockdown, which is what I was wanting anyway. So that was exciting. But this time it'll be different. I think people will take the restrictions a bit more serious.
It's because they know they can't do another one of these again, can they? No one can hack another few months inside.
We have got vaccines as well that's been in place, so realistically we should be better off this time around. But no, I'm excited just to see people again.
It's weird as well when you think back to it, like when also like masks and that were first introduced, like you see the amount of folk that were kicking off about them and like just didn't take it seriously at all. Now it's sort of like second nature. People don't even think anymore about putting on a face mask and going into a store, which is good and bad, I suppose. It's got to normality.
Aye, it's became the norm. But no, it's exciting times. I've got a couple of new people in the shop. I've got a new manager. So
Have you met them yet?
I met the manager. I trained the manager. But there is a new start, and she's came into the shop. We've lost a couple of old ones, so I'll be saying just to get back into the buzz of things. But at the end of the day, at the end of the week, sorry, it'll be a case of this is shite, but we'll see what happens. It is exciting.
No, that's good. Nah, well, I suppose we'll get on to it a wee bit. Probably, well, you know, these things, if it's just you and me, start off with the serious and go into the light-hearted. But yeah, no, obviously, I suppose the biggest news of the week was big Derek Chauvin, I think you pronounce it, the boy who obviously knelt on George Floyd's neck. Got convicted for 12 and a half years after, I think it was like a 10-hour court, like jury proceeding rather, where they also like go into the side room and chat out. I've read as well that he's, what the fuck was that noise? Sound like the mic exploded there. But yeah, no, so he gets apparently a checkup every 30 minutes, so he has to go for like a mental health check every like 3 months, because obviously he'll be on like the fucking most wanted list when he goes into a jail, especially in America.
Well, the thing is, here's the thing. So he got done for second-degree murder, second-degree manslaughter, and then third-degree murder as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
That was a few charges.
Yeah, he appealed them all and he lost all 3 counts.
Aye, so it accumulated 75 years behind bars, I think was what the actual charges accumulate to.
Okay, right.
Because obviously like second-degree murder on its own, say 15 year.
Yeah.
Times in them all together, it was like 75 year or something. So I think, honestly, right, needless to say, people want to believe that he'll be in the jail till he's dead. However, for what I've seen, the thing is, right, he got tried and convicted in all it was in Minnesota. Was it Minneapolis?
Might have been. I can't quite remember.
Well, that's maybe the police department was in. He was in it anyway. I read up that, and he's in a state that's in the. So it's 80% black people that's incarcerated where he's gone.
Yeah.
So, like, if he's not in total confinement and away for the 80% of the black population in that prison, they'll not make it through his sentence.
No. And I mean, I see a lot of people obviously saying, you know, good riddance, and I totally understand why folk won't care if he's, you know, battered to death or whatever. But the thing is that the guy takes, oh my god, my whole computer's just fucking spazzing out at the moment. If he is, obviously, then this guy takes away from the point of it all. You want him to surely suffer long term, and I know people might say, well, he's just a tax rinse to that point, which I also get. But if you are someone that truly wants him to suffer, and you better letting him live out his sentence.
It's whether you believe in the justice system anyway, whether it be in the US or anywhere. It's whether you believe in your country's justice system. In America, the justice system's always been known to be harsh, but like also fair. Like, so the 75 years, so the second degree murder, say it's 30 years that you get for that, you will spend that 30 years in jail. Like, there's no chance of you getting early parole. That doesn't happen. As much in America, I think they've got like out of, I don't know what I read, but it's under 10% of people who get convicted. Only like a certain percent of them, under 10%, get actual early release and stuff.
Really?
So it's like really low. So they're really harsh with the length of the timing.
Isn't that as well though? Because like they have a lot of privatized police departments over privatized jails. Sorry, so like they can't actually deliberately want to keep them in for longer because they get paid more money for the more people that are kept inside.
I think it's something to do with that as well.
It's incredibly fucking corrupt.
Aye. It's, the whole situation's mental though, mate, to be honest. Like, he's been done with the 3 charges. Whether you agree with the 3 or you disagree with maybe 1 or the 2, the point is he's got the time he deserves for what he done.
Yeah.
And you know, in 2, 3, maybe even 4 months down the line, if you read that he's been killed in jail, it will not come as a shock.
Nah, I mean, the only one nowadays that would make me less surprised is that Gillian Maxwell, you know, the second in command to Jeffrey Epstein. If she was knocked off, I'd be even less surprised, but he's definitely up there of, well, to be expected. And that's the thing, you could easily see, like, you know, a guard having a pop, a fucking, you know, a regular.
Well, it doesn't just put a bad name on, you know, it doesn't put a bad name on white people in regards to killing of black people, because that doesn't happen. But in this instance, it puts a bad name on the police department over there.
Aye.
You know, so it's like if you're a black cellmate and you think to yourself, you've seen this on the news, and the boy that's in charge of your fucking wing is white, you'll just automatically hate him because of what's happened. So it does put a bad name on the, you know, whether it's prison guards or whether it's actual officers. It's a bad name on them, so they'll despise him as much as the next guy. But it's a crazy situation, mate. I knew for the start when it happened, like the uproar alone was going to put the boy into prison. He deserves it. Don't get me wrong, but that uproar, the movement that it started was always going to see a justice department getting involved. You know, whereas I genuinely believe if that was just, and I say this very lightly, if this was just another black killing in America, it would just be brushed to the side. But because of the uproar it had, there was no chance of it.
I think as well, it's just it was a case at the time of, it was the straw that finally broke the camel's back, wasn't it? It was like people have been locked inside for months at that point. There's been so many injustices down the years, you know, so many, especially recently, because technology is a great thing in the sense that we are now able to see things like this where it might have been swept under the rug 10, 15 years ago without likes of body cams or people filming in the street. And you sort of see more and more outrage because it's becoming more and more apparent, especially from folk outside of the States that maybe don't quite understand it as much, for maybe like, say, you and me. But yeah, no, I mean, America's a scary place. I mean,
place.
I mean, it's, I don't know what it was like in your primary school, but for us, it was always like sort of, you know, America's this great big, you know, open expanse where you can go and make the American dream, and you know, it's this great place to be and all that sort of thing. And then the last, like, you know, 5 years there's a place less in the world I'd want to be than America right now.
They're the laughing stock of the world, you know.
Yeah, I know.
It have been for a while.
Yeah, but no, it's a shame. And do you know what, as well, like, also jokes aside, that I do feel bad for, like, you know, providing, of course, their family as well aren't all massive racist cunts like he clearly was, but imagine like how it is for like this boy's family and all that, if they're, you know, they're probably
the backlash he'll receive is ridiculous. The rumour is his family's been put in Whyte, so they're in protective custody.
I mean, you'd have to be. That's the sad truth of events. Now, fair enough, if they're also like his son, then, you know, okay, I don't necessarily feel bad for them, but chances are not everyone's going to be like him, and you know, that will have brought shame on the name of the family forever, basically.
So what's it? New names, new fucking identity, and away you go to a different place in the world. It's
mad how one action altered the course for so long, basically, isn't it? But yeah, R.I.P. George Floyd and anyone else affected. It's obviously a bit of a big story, so I wanted to just cover it a wee bit because, you know, it's important, I suppose, to look back on these things and hopefully one day maybe see this as a turning point.
Justice was served.
Well, also into more shite news, I suppose. Lovely bloke Ryan Giggs just came on the news before we clicked record on this. He's basically been done for assault of 2 lasses in their 30s. I actually have the statement written down. If you give me just a second, just so I can read out in case we didn't.
What's interesting is it came through his Welsh manager, Ryan Giggs.
Yeah.
He's not a Welsh manager anymore. That's going to change.
Well, yeah, I mean, that'll obviously be gone now, but yeah, I mean, you do think it's weird because obviously the alleged, the first attacks like happened back in November kind of time. And he was obviously like dropped for a period of games this year when Wales were going to the qualifiers. And it seems strange that nothing ever really came of that, but I suppose he wasn't convicted. So, in a sense, I suppose fair play to Wales because they could have sacked him on the spot, but I suppose they gave him the benefit of the doubt, which, isn't great.
Innocent until proven guilty was
the
mentality they went for.
Yeah, but I mean, so he's been accused of causing actual body harm to a woman in her 30s and common assault of a woman in their 20s. I'll be honest, I don't know quite what the difference of each is, but basically the police were phoned to his house and, they're both treated for minor injuries at the scene. He obviously denied all sort of involvement. He spent a few nights in a cell, got released on bail, and has now been convicted in court as of today. He's due to appear on court on the 28th, obviously, for, I presume, punishment, whether that be a fine or suspended sentence or whatever, because, I mean, let's face it, he's not actually going to go to jail, is he?
I don't know. It's one of those ones, probably no, because he's a public figure.
Yeah, that's what I'm meaning.
But assault of two different women should be a jail sentence.
Oh yeah, no, it should 100% be a jail sentence. But I'm just saying, because it's him, I bet you it will only be.
Probably not, no.
I mean, let's not get it wrong. He's not exactly been a darling of public figures for a long time now. He's, the whole thing came out about his brother, like, in fact, I think that was 10 years ago now, and he was having an affair with his brother's missus, which mental to think about. I don't know how that fucking family does at Christmas, but I bet it's no good.
No.
Because you mind even, like, last year, his brother's done that advert with Paddy Power about a snake being in his family sort of thing. That one must have fucking been awkward as fuck to talk about.
I don't envy it, put it that way. It's fucking.
He must have loved that though. He must have been like, yeah, no, Joe, fuck you. I'm going to get a good pay pack and make you look like a tit again.
No, but at the same time, maybe but Giggs a bit, I pumped your missus brains your back, so every coin does a silver lining. That's how it is. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, do you think this is the end of his managerial career, so to speak?
This is the end of him. Like, I truly believe now that he'll not be a pundit. He'll not be back on Sky, BT, ESPN, whatever you want to fucking call it. I don't think he'll be back on it again.
Rightly so.
That's serious, mate. There's we can sit here and talk about it and say, oh, he's not going to go to jail, blah, blah, blah. But that's serious. That's a serious.
Oh yeah, no.
You see Carragher spitting at a Man United fan. That's mental, but it's no life threatening.
Yeah.
But you look at this
in today's world, actually, isn't it?
Yeah, true. But whereas with this situation, he could have easily got so irate and kept punching and didn't stop, or the assault could have led to terminal injuries or.
Previously body harm, GB.
It could have been so serious, and for that reason, if he's never back on television again, it's scandalous. But
unless, of course, it's like a fucking for a later apology that he does or whatever.
Has he got a MBE?
Oh, good point. Actually, I can't remember if he does. Let me.
Because that gets stripped off him.
He probably does because he's like the most. Well, I mean, remember as well, they're talking about doing the Hall of Fame for the Premier League later. And, like they're saying, like, there's going to be two names originally done with it. And you think about it realistically, before all this, if you think back to it, the two most likely names to be introduced firstly would be Ryan Giggs and Alan Shearer, most appearance makers and most titles / highest ever goal scorer.
No.
He's probably fucked it for that in terms of his legacy as a whole.
He's ruined a big chunk of his life for doing that.
Yeah, and fuck him if that's what it is.
Fucking thank fuck. Smank scum. It shouldn't be this hard for you to think.
No, it's not written down anywhere, so he shouldn't have been. It's not like front and centre news. I think he hasn't been given it.
Ryan Giggs. Aye, right. Ryan Joseph Giggs, OBE.
That's been struck off his Wikipedia facet.
So he will no longer have that. Because any criminal charges you get it stripped off you.
Yeah.
Aye,
I thought it went to like a proceeding where they decided if you're allowed to.
So the way it works is criminal charges wipe it straight off you, unless you have been given it based on your rehabilitation. Yeah. So like if you go to jail for assault and then you come out, you do a massive act that changes the way people look at assault or domestic violence or whatever, and it raises so much money or it does so much for people, you can be rewarded with a OB or an MB.
Right.
But if you get a criminal charge, it's wiped off you because it's a disgrace to Her Majesty or some shit like that, it's called. Aye, I know, it's fucking odd.
She said at home reading the paper like, for fuck's sake, Ryan, you've done it, you fucked it.
Yeah, you stupid, no use a bastard.
You're meant to be protecting my image.
I can only imagine her sitting there in the house after losing her husband going, fuck's sake, Ryan.
You fucked it.
Yeah, a fucking dick. Fucking sheep shagging bastard. Can only imagine. Nah, but it's see, the thing is, it's interesting, right? Because the way I look at it now is you see shit like this and you think to yourself, someday like Kim can do it. Who knows what the rest of the football players
somebody like what could do it?
Someone like him, so like who's had such an influence on so many people's lives, whether it's for Wales, whether it's for Man United fans. He's been a part of a game in which people live and breathe. So people will look up to him. Whether you're a Man U fan or no, you appreciate what he was and what he's done for football.
Well, remember, like, back before the whole affair thing happened, he was seen in the same light as, like, a Scholes or not as maybe much as a Roy Keane, but, someone that just done football, was a bit boring and was a humble professional about everything. But, this makes, this and that as well, it's sort of...
He's got a dark side, so it just shows you no all football players are the perfect images that you see. So
I think most people know that, but yeah, even more so. The ones you wouldn't expect it to be hiding in plain sight. Definitely.
But it's crazy. Everybody's got a dark secret.
What's yours?
I can't tell you.
He loves Aberdeen. I've confirmed it here.
I don't even think you love Aberdeen anymore.
I don't. Fuck him.
Got to become a honey.
Absolutely fucking not.
I'll
slit my wrists.
Fucking do I can. Brilliant. No, but it's mad. It's a mad situation, but
yeah.
He's a prick.
Yeah, we can confirm that. That is 100% true. Ryan Giggs is a prick.
You heard it here first.
It's that title of the podcast.
Ryan Giggs, prick.
Not even equals, just Ryan Giggs, prick.
Ryan Giggs, prick.
But yeah, moving on. Again, more football related, but actually good news this time. European Super League lasted from the whole 18th of April till the 21st of April. They kept it going a long time.
Right. Is that everybody? Is that every team out now?
No, Real Madrid's. Barcelona. Yeah, they're still in it technically, but I think they're the only three left. Is AC Milan are out as well.
Juventus are still in it.
Okay, so it's Juventus and the three Italian teams. That's it. But for those that don't know, so it's going to take a lot of explaining, but I think it's kind of important because I think those that aren't football fans maybe don't get why it's such a big deal as such.
Why it was.
Yeah, right, okay. But I think it's maybe important to explain. So, okay, Now, football, as most people know, been a money game, especially for like the big five leagues. That's your England, Spain, France, Germany, and like Portugal or Netherlands. So, it's been a big thing since like the 90s when the Sky money came in and took over the Premier League. Like it's obviously gone like skyrocketed from wages, TV deals, all that sort of thing. Now, in recent years, probably for about the last 5 to 10 years, things have been ropey with the big clubs in UEFA. UEFA is the governing body of Europe that run competitions like the Champions League and Europa League. And they also do, you know, European tournaments like the Euros, that sort of thing. Now, the big clubs have been warning them for years about sort of, you know, get your act together or we will start this. And I think probably naively by the Prem and UEFA, they've sort of had a, well, you fuck sort of thing. We hold all the cards, you won't do nothing. And they're sort of talked about more and more. And unfortunately for us, seems like our club, Liverpool and Man United were the big two that sort of spearheaded it, so to speak, in persuading people to join it, which is annoying to say the least. But yeah, then they've basically gone away and proposed this European Super League. So in a sense, it would ditch the Champions League. There would have been 15 original teams. No, sorry, there would have been 20 teams starting off in it. With 15 founding members who couldn't be relegated. So there's no possible loss in there. Those teams were Liverpool, Man United, Man City, Chelsea, Spurs, Arsenal, Barca, Real, Atletico Madrid, Juventus, AC Milan, Inter Milan were the original 15, with also another 5 to come in. It wasn't revealed who the other ones were yet, but that was the original ones to start it off with. And the whole point of it was basically because it was going to be funded by American bankers, JP Morgan, who were going to put something like £3.5 trillion into it over the course of a number of years, which is fucking mental to think about. And yeah, they struck while the iron was hot, so to speak. I think over the process of COVID, they realised, you know, finally they've had concrete evidence that they could survive without fans through like pay-per-view packages. And they realised the wee teams around them weren't basically pulling their weight compared to them in terms of money deals. And they sort of thought, fuck it, we can do this better ourselves. Now, the reason why I suppose this caused such an uproar, opposed to, well, for firstly, I mean, people don't like change in sport. It's notoriously hated. No matter what you do, change in sport is despised by majorities. That's one of the reasons. Second reason is it takes away any possible chance of like playing the big teams deservedly. You're basically, these big teams will force themselves into it. There's no risk involved. There's no drama, which obviously makes sport great. Not relegating folk. I mean, what's the point then? Because, for example, in the Premier League, the top 4, as it stands, get Champions League, and the bottom 3 get relegated. So every season, there's always to look forward to who gets the title, who gets the other 3 Champions League spots, and who gets relegated. It always has the drama.
Europa League as well.
Europa League as well, sorry, yeah. And it always has like the drama of who's going to get those spots, and so on and so forth. And that's what makes, in particular, most people say the Premier League's the best league in the world. Yada, yada, yada.
Which is.
Now, yeah, and like I said, that's why the problems sort of occur. You know, you're taking away all the drama and excitement. The reason why games like Liverpool v Real Madrid are so special is because, for example, Liverpool in the last 10 years have been in the Champions League 3 seasons. So these nights are really rare and really special because, you know, to be playing amongst Europe's elite, we have had to work hard for it. We've had to prove ourselves. We've had to fight hard and get back to the top of English football. Now that could mean nothing, or it could have until it was cancelled, mean nothing. Basically, you know, you're just guaranteed a free ride every year. Now, originally with their plan, they promised that they would still play Premier League games, but play the European Super League during the weekdays, but all the leagues basically came out and said, if you leave, you're fucked. You're not playing these games. So theoretically, it would have just been these games midweek, against fucking Real Madrid and Barcelona, you'd be playing them about fucking 3 times a year. And it'd get boring, quite frankly. And no one wanted to see it. Because it all sounds well good playing Europe's best week in, week out, but trust me, you get fucking bored of it very fast. Sometimes you need your away trips to some farmers or whatever, like, you know, in the FA Cup. It's like things like this that's needed, and it's things like that that made football special.
There would be absolutely no squad rotation if we'd went in the Super League. Effectively is what we're getting at. So there's young players like Phil Foden and Jadon Sancho who are developing their careers. Although both are starters now for their team, they would never have been starters if we had the Super League. Because say we had a promising young talent named Whyte and he was coming through the ranks at Man United, and it was a left winger, and he was trying to get ahead of Rashford or Martial.
Easy, mate. I think this kid's got potential.
In the European Super League, when you're playing against Barca, Real Madrid, Atletico, Juventus, it's not going to happen. You're not going to get a start because they're going to want to start their best players at the best times. And if you've got no away games at fucking West Brom that should be easy to win, then you've no competition, you've no squad rotation, and you're just going to constantly play against the European elite. And when it would tire your players out, and there would be, like I say, no squad rotation, so no developing the youth. The whole idea was flawed.
Yeah.
For the ground up.
Well,
people thought it was just a money stunt, but it would harm youth careers massively.
That's like, for those as outsiders, right? So like me and Jamie are Liverpool fans, and I mean, I don't know quite how long Jamie's been watching Liverpool for, but I've been watching Liverpool just before the current owners, FSG, came in, and obviously the entire time FSG have been in. And don't get me wrong, they've done some bad things in that time. They've made mistakes, right? But I think on the whole, most people would say they've been really great owners if you compare them to like other people like Man United or the Glazers. Like, you know, since Jurgen's come in, they've kept us competing at the top of the league. They've they erased all of. What's that?
Besides this year.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean. But I mean, like, that's to be fair, I don't really think that's their fault. They've invested,
it's injuries have been fucked.
Yeah, it's, you know, they've also invested wisely. You know, they've made sure to have like great scouting networks and great analytics teams to make sure to get the greatest players possible. We've, you know, they've, like I said, they've erased all of Liverpool's debt, which was some like 300 million when they came in, which, you know, on the grand scheme of things, weirdly doesn't seem like much anymore. But at the time, that was like club ending, basically. And you know, like they made Liverpool a big team again, which they definitely weren't when they came in. And you know, there's full credit to them for that. But they've also made a few mistakes here and there. You know, when they tried to raise the ticket prices to 76 quid, when they put staff on furlough originally at the start of lockdown. But I think people overlook these bad mistakes because they were rectified quickly. They apologised and they sort of worked hard to build the relationship.
People think you can walk into a football team, put the money down, and it's going to be a piece of piss.
Yeah.
Because you've got the money. People need to understand it. You need to understand how a club works. You need to understand how everything down to the core of the club is the people and the fans. Without the chefs being in the fucking kitchen, players don't get the nutrition they require. It's small stuff like that.
And I think, to be fair to FSG, a lot of the time they have got it right. And I will say that
it's a learning curve, though. The mistakes they make is a learning curve.
The trouble is, though, now they might have now fucked it with this one decision alone. And, you know, they can come out all they want and say that it's done for the prevention of, you know, to make sure the club survives for another 100 years, which is great. And to be fair, I'm totally fine with Liverpool originally having these talks about the European Super League. You know, I would have preferred it if they'd seen sense and gone, actually, do you know what, we can't be involved in something like this. But I'm fine with us talking about it at first because it does show that we're at the top, and it does show that, you know, if needs be, we're willing to make changes if it suits us. Obviously, they should have realised, though, this wouldn't have, because it sounds that no one in the club was discussed about it. It was only the owners. No coaches, no players, no staff in general. It just probably would have been board members and owners that were informed about all this.
What's the American guy that owns us?
John Henry.
John Henry. Did you see his apology video?
Yeah.
I thought it was very good. I thought it was very amicable what he said. It was relatable to fans. Sugarcoated a shite. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Like, you know, he disclosed his involvement to the minimum amount he could.
Yeah.
You know, and he did admit he was like he was very forthcoming with the situation. He was like, I take responsibility. I pushed for this as much as the next guy. And then he was like, what we didn't realise is being away here in America or wherever we are in the world at this time, it's about the hard-working or the hard-working class that pay for the tickets, season tickets, the core of the club, as the fans. And I thought the fact it took you something like this for you to come out and realise it's the fans that make the game is mind-blowing. But
no, he knew full well beforehand. I think he was just hoping that he would have, you know, I know
he got scapegoated, though. He did get scapegoated. It was FSG with it. Massive amounts of fault.
Yeah, actually, that is another thing that should be brought up though into this. So, it's never actually been called the European Super League. It was only ever called the Super League. Obviously, everyone just called it European Super League because we presumed it would be a replacement for the Champions League. But what that suggests to me is that they're probably going to get teams from South America, teams from America, teams from Asia to get involved, which, you know, again, on paper sounds great. But once you do that and, you know, say, for example, this went ahead, right, and Boris Johnson or whoever is in charge might have been like, yeah, no, we're not allowing these games to take place. I know for a full fact they would have just been like, all right, fine, then fuck it. And do you know what? This suits us. We'd have to pay rent on a stadium. We can go between country to country and get new fans in each new areas and, you know, play games, you know, for $100 a piece in New York against Juventus on a Tuesday night, you know. No fans going to travel to that, but you will get, like, you know, the cunts that live in the area to come down. Oh, Liverpool are playing. That's good, you know. I don't know anything about football, but I know that they were once the Champions League champions, you know, this sort of thing. And it worries me how close they were to succeeding. It does make me laugh to see how quickly they turn back on it, but it does.
As soon as it was confirmed, I knew it was going to tits up within 3 days.
Well, here's the thing though, right? You say it's gone tits up, yeah, but this isn't the end of it in a sense. Because you and me were kind of messaging when the news broke about this, and I was kind of saying to you, like, this isn't the end of it. Like, at the end of the day, football is changing whether we like it or not. There's going to be changes in the near future because, don't get me wrong, just because they've won here, the big clubs that is, doesn't mean that they're not going to get their way in something else going forward. You've already seen the plans for the Champions League go ahead to the proposal for 3 years down the line. They're not great. Yes, it's good for the wee smaller teams to be involved, and I understand, and that's really good. And I enjoy the fact that they get more of a chance. But everything else about it's shite, you know. You're playing an extra, you know, however many games a season, potentially 10. You're fucking, you know, you're traveling to more areas across Europe that, you know, have like thousands of miles of impact, you know, and there's that bullshit as well about the fact that there's like an elite clause sort of thing, you know.
It doesn't affect us though.
It doesn't, but that's the problem though. I want it to affect us. I want football to be an even game. If there's no drama in it, if we're like, say this season, right? Say hypothetically, because they're saying with this like release clause sort of thing, basically of, you know, if you fail to get in, but like you have big standing in Europe, you might get in anyway, or there'll be certain spaces left for those elite teams that didn't quite make it. What's the fucking point in that? Like, what does that mean? So what, Liverpool can finish 5th or 6th every year and we're just automatically getting into the Champions League? That's not how it should work. We should have to fight for our place. We should have to be on top of our game every single fucking year in order to get there. I don't want to see us being rewarded out of our previous history. That's not how you win anything in sport. That's not how you become credible for future generations. It's fucking embarrassing, to be honest.
And I know these things won't happen, though. The reason being is because coercion points are there for a reason, and they're never going to disappear. That's the thing. It's like they're never going to disappear.
And I get that, but I don't want to see people being rewarded because of their history. Because if that's the case, why aren't we going back to the 1970s when fucking Nottingham Forest won 2 European Cups in a row? Why don't they have leverage? Why don't we go back even further to fucking like Notts County, the first ever professional team in the world? Like, shouldn't they be given a pass? They're technically the ones that started everything.
And that's why Scotland had such a big uproar as well with this Super League, as where Rangers and Celtic weren't invited. And I'd even seen a couple of arguments for like Aberdeen because they've won. I know, had me chuckling as well. But like, and the question got asked: why is Rangers and Celtic getting invited? Because they're among the European elite. I mean, look at Rangers in the Europa League this season, and Celtic.
Yeah. Teams like Ajax as well, 3 European Cups, not been invited.
It's fucking mind-blowing. It's crazy. But
it's
I'm glad it's passed.
Yeah, no, but that's the thing though I'm trying to say, like, changes will happen. And, it's just a case of hopefully it's not too much, basically. But the other thing I want to bring up, right, is that I was a bit pissed off as well about people's reception to this being passed, right? Because I understand you want to celebrate that this isn't going ahead, and that's great, and I'm fully behind that. But people have to bear in mind, especially down in England, they don't realise how fucking privileged they are to these sorts of things, right? Especially with the Premier League coming in the 90s. And one of the things I really hated about all of this was fucking Sky Sport, every single Sky Sports pundit having a go about this, not realising quite how fucking hypocritical it is of them more than anyone else to be having a go at this. It's them that have caused this. It's them in the Premier League that started all this shit to begin with. It's them that allowed the likes of the fucking Sheikh Mansour group. It's them that allowed Roman Abramovich in the country. It's them that allowed the Glazers. It's them that banned teams like Newcastle from getting upgrades. It's them that have been pumping money into this sport and neglecting everything else about it for years. So yes, although I agree with Gary Neville standing there on his high horse talking about all the problems of the Super League, have a look at the fucking microphone they are holding with a big fucking Sky Sports logo. It's usually charging 15 quid to see fucking Brighton v Newcastle during lockdown when times are its hardest. Prices go up every year, even though that you're paying out the highest prices currently. There's no reward for fans. There's no promise of things are going to get better now. And it just fucking irritates me to see everyone on their high horse about how, for once in our generation, England was threatened with the possibility of losing the greatest league of its all. And they're taking to it as if it was like, the end of the world. Scotland's never seen any of this Sky Sports money. The Netherlands have never seen any of this money. All these other teams that Sky invests into have left them behind for years, so it's only one league every year which grows and grows. And and it fucking pisses me off. Like, yes, have a go about it if you want, but at least have some fucking common sense to realise how hypocritical you're being at the start as well.
See, I disagree with it in a sense, because your Carragher and your Neville, if you had played for Liverpool for 12 years, 13 years of your career, and and then you got asked, right, we want you to be a Sky Sports pundit and I'll give you 30k a year to do it, right? You're going to do it.
Yeah, no, look, here's the thing though, right? I'm fine with them doing it. I'm fine with them taking on the responsibility. I want to see people be good pundits. And to be fair to Sky, they do have some of the best pundits out there. I'm not disagreeing with that.
Gary Neville's not to blame for the topics she brought up there. Not just Gary Neville,
No,
but in
no.
general, pundits.
No, and I'm fine with that. But my problem with it is, right, don't act so high and mighty as if like it's Sky that is saving it and making everything great for everyone else, when in reality they're only also helping the big six, which have caused the problem. I'm fine if they want to go on about how bad the Super League as an idea is, and that's correct, because that's what they should do, because it is. They should also, though, be able to accept, do you know what, 20 years ago, this company also done the same thing. And it's fine, because it's not entirely their fault either, but just at least have the ball to accept that it's not all just Liverpool Man United's fault. It's also UEFA's fault. It's also FIFA's fault. It's also Sky's fault. It's also the Premier League's fault. Don't just blame it on these teams, because they're not the only ones to blame in this situation.
It's a fucking farce. Money talks and bullshit works.
Like, I was like, so Graham, former guest on the podcast, was sort of mentioning, like, when Bayern were playing PSG the other night, right? Well, no, other week now, I think it would have been. I was sort of saying, oh, do you want to, like, you know, you can go down the park sort of thing and watch it, you know, like get on a screen sort of thing. Would you be down for that kind of thing? And he's like, nah, mate. And like, Graham's like one of the biggest football fans that I know, right? And I was sort of like, oh, what, are you busy? It's like, nah, I'm just fucking sick of the Champions League. And at first, because this was all before the European Super League, I was like, what? You're sick of the Champions League? He's like, yeah, it's just the same games every year. It's the same, you know, oil state-run country clubs that are always, you know, up in it. And, you know, it's always them that win in the end. And, you know, I'd rather see real football, even if it is shitter. You know, it's at least more true to what the sport is. And I kind of understood him at the time, but I didn't sort of think, you know, but it's still an entertaining game. After everything that's gone on with the European Super League, I totally see his point of view now, and I've been naive in myself to sort of accept, because Liverpool have gone through a great sort of 5 and 6 years, I've sort of blinded myself to the issues as well at hand, when in reality I should have realised more sooner than later what the problems were and tried to fight to make the game better rather than when it was too late and this European Super League was announced.
I find it hard to agree with it. What you're saying there, though, is, you know, you're talking about PSG and Bayern being like, you know, oil-run clubs and.
Well, PSG is, Bayern's obviously a bit different, but
money talks and bullshit walks again sort of mentality. But at the same time, who would you rather as a game to watch? Do you know what I mean? Like, I know obviously you've come to terms with it now, but like I would love to have asked them the question at the time. In that semi-final or quarter-final, Bayern PSG, what game would you rather have seen? And I genuinely don't think you could give you an answer. The two clubs that I would rather watch. Like, you could tell me Rangers v Porto, and I'd still be like, but it's not going to be as good as Bayern PSG.
Yeah, no, and don't get me wrong, I totally understand, and I still loved the game. I thought it was a great game, and one of the actual good displays in the Champions League that was like overly exciting, and you know what makes the competition great, so to speak. But I do fully understand where he comes from. I also, you know, I think maybe as well it helps being in Scotland more, because, you know, obviously we see it for what it is a bit more compared to like down south. If you only ever watch the Premier League, you and me watching, you know, like Motherwell v Inverness on the TV, we can really see the fucking drop off. But at the end of the day, it is more real, I suppose, in a sense.
I can even imagine watching Newcastle or even Leicester's run in the Champions League. It was good, but it was just for a year. That was it.
Yeah,
it's never going to happen again.
Yeah,
and there's a reason for it. It's because they're not good enough to compete with these big teams, and it's no money based. It's because genuinely just they're not as good of a football team. Because Leicester's not a rich club. Like they're not a rich club. They've got money. Do you know what I mean? They've got players like, well, they had players like Mahrez who they've sold for.
Well, I mean, even nowadays, you know, they've got Tielemans, they've got, you know, Madison.
They've still got Vardy, Madison.
You know.
Like they've still got a solid team, but it'll never ever compete in Europe against a Bayern, PSG, or a Real Madrid. And that's no anything to do with money. They're not good enough.
Yeah.
Because that £80 million they paid for Maguire, right? Let's say hypothetically, that they got for that, right? Let's say hypothetically, back 2 years prior to that, they got that £80 million. They could have then went and invested in something like Vinicius Junior or Ansu Fati. These players who were still on the scouting list back then. And because Real Madrid have got such a wide variety of talent, they were playing their games in the weekday, but then they've got a scouting team ready to go and investigate these players. Leicester's not got that. They've got the money that they do it, but they're just not good enough. Yeah. They're not big enough. And that's the issue. But at the same time, it's like, I couldn't fathom the idea of sat watching Leicester City against Malmo in the Champions League quarter-final. That, to me, mind-blowing. That would never happen. That should never happen. It's for Europeans elite for a reason. So I get where he's coming from, but that's what the Europa League's there for.
Yeah, but also if you think about it, that's what the new format's meant to do in a sense. Introducing more teams, you'll get that sort of happening in a way.
Aye.
And I mean, think about it as well. They're thinking of introducing a third tier of European football now. Was it like the Europa? I can't mind what it's called, but it's like, you'll be getting like teams that finish like 10th in England playing there, just like.
No, apparently England's not getting spots in it.
Oh.
Well, they're only getting 2 spots in it, I think, or something like that.
Of course, only 2. But like Scotland will get like, they have to do 8 qualifiers to get into this like Diddy League.
Aye. To be fair though, it's probably a competition Rangers or Celtic could win. To be fair,
but would you rather see Celtic or Rangers? Well, actually, you wouldn't rather see Celtic, but would you rather see Rangers, get to the last 16 of Europa League, which in itself is only a competition that's 10 years old, or win some third division version of the Champions League?
No, I'd rather get to the last 16 and progress in Europa League.
Exactly. Same going as well. Would you rather get to the round of 16 in the Champions League or win the Europa League?
No, I'd win the Europa League.
Okay, I can maybe understand that a bit more.
I would win the Europa League and then get automatic qualification for Champions League next season.
But that's why, though, isn't it? It's more not even about the trophy. It's
obviously good to win it, and it's another European title we have. But at the same time, it's the future. It's a focus on the next again season. Like, we won 55, and I was already thinking who we're going to buy for next season, because we need to invest here, we need to get better here, and if we want to compete, the reason we went out against Slavia Prague was for one simple reason: our midfield got ran because Ryan Jack wasn't playing, and we were just getting bombarded through the middle.
Yeah, I've not heard of him.
And
shite player.
And Beghanis Lungu is not the answer. So it's like, I was already thinking, right, that's the reason we went out against Slavia Prague. Well, there's obviously other aspects, but it's the wee areas that we need to improve. So it's like, when you tell me, would you rather win the Europa League or get last 16 Champions League, I'm thinking, why don't we win the Europa League, get the title under our belt, and then get the last 16?
You get more money though if you finish in the top 16 of Champions League.
Winning a Diddy Trophy in order to get automatic qualification to Europa League is no my thing.
Yeah,
like, that's not what I want. But
and don't get me wrong, maybe in 20 years it will be a big thing like the Europa. Because I mean, don't get me wrong, a lot of people give the Europa League a lot of stick, but I actually think it's a pretty good competition in some regards. It also goes on, like, there's far too many teams involved in it. But for it's
ridiculous that teams for the Champions League come down here.
No, they shouldn't be. That should be a fucking.
If you finish third in your Champions League group, you do not deserve to be in the Europa League.
Yeah, no, because then as well gives them a better chance because technically they're the better teams anyway. Look at the
teams that came down, by the way, like Napoli.
Yeah,
for a start, that's outrageous. Valencia, Sevilla. That shouldn't happen. Why are these teams coming down into a competition with fucking Malmo and Celtic?
That's dumb. But I mean, the Europa League gets a lot of stick, but I actually quite like it as a competition. To be fair,
it's a good competition. It's got a good structure. It's just it needs less teams.
And it needs to be cut down. It needs to just have like around the 16
Rangers should not need to go through 4 qualifiers in order to 5 qualifiers just to be in the competition.
Absolutely not.
I went last year, like literally spent £280 on tickets just for qualifiers, and then I went to the rest of the games because you were like League of Warsaw, and then you had like fucking another Diddy team, and then another Diddy team, and then it was like you finally got there and you were like, oh, jamming. Aye, there's £50 for a ticket for the group stages. I was like, ha ha ha, fuck yeah. So, and then obviously we got through the group stages, and it became more money for us to buy, but COVID hit. But it's crazy. But Europa League, if they shortened the amount of teams doing it, would be a great competition.
Yeah, well, to be fair, they might do that now with the fucking third tier coming in, but otherwise, fuck me, it's pointless.
It's easy.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about anything else about the football, or should we move on?
Nah, I'll probably move on. Let's spiel about it.
Well, boxing. Turns out you and me are incredible boxing predictors. We can see the future. And we predicted a Jake Paul knockout, and it was a Jake Paul knockout.
Yeah, first round as well.
Yeah, Ben Askren got wiped out.
It was a...
However, I will say me and Jamie had the same reaction. I messaged him saying, oh, you want to watch it tonight? And his reaction was, fuck no, it's 4 a.m. And my reaction was, yeah, fuck that.
No, there was 2 reasons. I says to you going into the fight, there was one way it was gone. And I also says to Dylan and stuff that Ben Askren's doing this for a paycheck, nothing less.
Yeah. He clearly, I mean, it was obvious beforehand, but it was really obvious. On the night.
I mean, he
didn't train properly.
He never, you know, he never gave up, or he never, you know, just purposely went in there and didn't fight. But it was in no way, shape or form to be competing with this youthful fucking lad that's ripped the fuck and has been training for about 2 years consistently for fights. He picked the worst striker in the UFC history, which is what I says to you.
Yeah.
It had landed the least amount of strikes out of all UFC fighters in the time that he was fighting for a fucking reason. He's a donkey. But he got his paycheck with his big fucking dad bod, and he'll fuck off in the sunset with his missus now. Good riddance to him. Good play. But he's a prick. But it was terrible. I don't know if you've seen the fight or not. Like,
I mean, I watched the highlights. There wasn't much to watch. It was the first round. It
was like back and forth, and then he was backing up, and then Jake hit him with, which was a very good combo, by the way. The wee left to the right.
People still saying it's fake. I think that's mostly down to Ben's attitude at the end, but I mean, like, that's fucking.
I mean, the guy got up and started laughing, and then was cuddling his missus.
I get that, but also at the same time, like, there's no fucking way that was fake. That was a proper fucking knockout.
Oh, he hit him, big time.
There's no way that was faked. He fucking knocked him.
It was a good combo, what I say, and he hit him with power. So it was serious stuff for Jake's side of things, but from Ben's point of view, man, that was a paycheck, a Syrian, good night, easy days. It was simple for him. For like I says to you prior to the fight, though, now it's a case of he needs to go for a Tommy Fury, or he'll need to get KSI in the ring now, because I don't think he can con any more cunts out of £50 a pay-per-view for a Ben Askren fight again. It's just not going to happen.
I think the whole KSI thing, I think probably not this year. If it's going to happen, it'll probably be next year.
Aye. Which is why I think he needs to go for Tommy Fury now.
I can't remember. Yeah, did you say you think he'll do it though? Last time.
What, go for Tommy Fury?
Yeah.
I think he will. I think he's no stupid, and I think he knows where the money's at. Like he's. There's one thing about Jake is he's an absolute cock, but his head's screwed on.
He knows who he's picking.
He knows where he can go, what he can push himself to, and where the fucking money's at. And it's all about publicity and money for him. And I genuinely believe if he was to train hard enough, he would fight Tommy Fury a good fight. Do I think he'd win? Probably no. think Tommy might just edge it based on his family. Like, you learn a fair few of a big brother that's the Gypsy King. Aye. Like, but at the same time, it's one of those ones where...
I mean, Tommy Fury has fought nothing but diddies, though. That has to be said.
Very true. Very true. I to be honest, I dislike Bate. I like Tommy Fury. No, I did dislike Bate. But I can appreciate Tommy Fury in the sense of I watched him on Love Island and I thought he was a good laugh. That was it. But he's still a fud. And I hate his brother as well. So
Tyson?
He's a prick. But
I thought you liked Tyson.
No, Tyson, I'm not. But at the same time, I'd love them to just knock each other out.
just
fucking
bang.
Crossing punches, knock each other out.
Has that ever happened? That must have happened at some point.
Probably happened.
Is that a draw at that point, or both get lost?
Whoever gets up first.
What about if they're both flatlined? Is it just like both get a loss, or both get a win, both get a draw?
It's I would like to see it happen. I think it could happen, but if Jake doesn't believe in himself, or no doubt, that's
he definitely does. If that cunt doesn't need any more of it, self-confidence.
No, but when it comes to something like tarnishing your career, the boy's got he's got a head screwed on.
Yeah, it's weird to think that it's 2021. He's still a thing though. Because I mean, let's face it. Without the boxing, he was on his way out of he wasn't getting as much attention, but now he's fully back in it again. It's
crazy to think that KSI is the reason, but he brought Logan back from the dead after videoing the dead. Like that's what's mental, because they're obviously it all started for Joe Weller and shit. That's where the boxing shit started. But if JJ didn't get to pass Joe Weller, call it Logan Paul.
I called it Jake, remember, first of all, and then Jake avoided him for Logan.
Aye. But called it the Pauls is what I was referring to there. You know, and Logan Paul's career was rock bottom. Like he was done, and then this boxing event brought him back.
Yeah.
Because it certainly wasn't the fucking apology video. I made a continuous lapse of my judgment. Like that was,
I mean, to be fair, I think he accepts that as well. I think he's said in the past, like, he's sort of saved my career.
Which is the thing. I like Logan Paul. Like I've said to you many times.
I don't like him as a person. I think
he's changed a lot now.
Oh no, I'm not saying he hasn't. It's obvious to see in the videos I've watched well that he's clearly changed. I'm not a massive fan of him still. I can appreciate that he makes good content, and he seems like an alright bloke now. It's just, you know, not entirely perfect, let's put it that way.
Nobody does it.
No. Apart from you, obviously, Jamie.
Well, you said it, you know. But
I know. So actually, if there's someone else that doesn't need an ego boost, it's you.
That's enough of that. That's an absolute slanderous, maybe so. But on the Jake Paul topic, man, hopefully he takes the fight and Tommy Fury fucking ruins his fucking face.
That would be nice. I would enjoy that.
Aye, fuck.
Right. Is there anything else you want to bring up before we finished?
No. Well, I mean, slightly on the. So I don't know if you're aware of the Premier League game tonight that's happening. It's Arsenal and Everton.
Right.
So there's protests outside the Emirates, and there have been since 6 o'clock.
About Stan Kroenke, the Arsenal
getting him out. And the heavily rumoured Ian Wright retweeted it as well that he plans on standing down after tonight's game, regardless of the result. So that'll be interesting to see, because I
mean, it's well earned. I mean, as much as folk like to give Arsenal grief and laugh about them, I mean, they have been run terribly by this absolute
I hope
fool.
It continues though. Like, how good would that be?
You're bad. You're bad.
How good would that be? See if he doesn't stand on the right, I'm going to be happy.
That's enough. I was gutted about fucking Ed Woodward resigning as well.
That is shite.
They might get so incompetent.
Fucking bring Ed back, man.
I know.
But that was it. I was just wanting to see if you knew about the protest that was happening.
I didn't actually know he was protesting, but yeah, no,
Right, so I've got a few Arsenal fans and they were telling me to watch out for it, and I was like, I'll keep an eye on it. But it'll be interesting to see if he steps down or what happens with that.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of people under fire after the Super League, rightly so. But yeah,
Indeed. But other than that, no.
Yeah, well, in terms of next week, hopefully we'll have a guest. We and Jamie were sort of talked before. We've got a bit of last minute planning to do, so we'll get on it. We'll definitely be back next week, but hopefully with a guest. And oh yeah, actually, that's one more thing I didn't want to bring up. The Would I Lie to You episode that we done with Dylan is, I think, probably my second favourite ever podcast that we've done. I loved it that much. I thought it was fucking brilliant.
Even though you were stressed and sweating throughout the whole thing.
Mate, it was to pull back the curtain if you didn't see it. Me and Jamie and Dylan, the unofficial third host, replicated our game show last week. And yeah, I think we all done well. We all came up with, interesting things to sort of say. I think it went really well. But so the thing is, part of me wants to do it again, but we obviously can't do it with Dylan because we've said too many things now. I don't know who we could do now that would do as good as a job. I will say though, potentially I would be down to maybe try another sort of game show format on this at some point with Dylan, or maybe try it. I think it would be good fun. So if any of you do have any ideas, you can sort of leave them in the comments if there's anything that you want to see us try, because I'm certainly down. I presume you two would be as well.
Absolutely.
Well,
on his behalf, absolutely.
I mean, the cunt's desperate to be back. He wants a cut of that anchor money. You know what he's like. Especially with that haircut.
Oh, fucking dick.
Right. Anyway, until next time then, I've been Liam Whyte.
I'm theejamieallan.
We'll see you all next week. Goodbye.
We talk football and current events, sitting and chatting with the very best guests, with two Scottish boys and we're loving it. So if you like witty banter, check the former #1 podcast on iTunes. Sitting and chatting.